social protection has. So it is important that we also collaborate intergovernmentally and interministerially. And so it is important that that be understood. It is not as if you're just going to go and get policemen to go and solve crime. Other thing, we want to, especially within our East Indian community, plea with them, come join up the police force. They don't want to join.
That's one of the measures the minister did announce for your sector in his presentation, that there will be a drive to increase the recruitment of police officers.
That's correct. But what I'm noticing, you know, like in Skeldon, and I'll be blunt about this, brother. I have to be blunt because it's my people too.
You're a known straight talker,
right?
So we expect
the trouble is that they don't want to join the police force, but when they get their monies there and whatever in their homes, they call up 2 o'clock in the morning. Police, run! My house, they might shoot with big gun. So those police now got to run there. They don't want to make the sacrifice, some of them, and they tell you plain, me not join police force. But you want the policemen in the police force to go run. It's not going to happen. When America goes to war, it's the Americans that will go and fight. In Guyana, why is it that that section of our community don't want to join up, or join up at the rate that we would be far more desirable? No, but they're going to chatter, and then they're going to condemn the policemen. And everybody in the policemen is rob them and this and that and are rogue cops. But when you say, well, hey boss, join up. 1,000 a short of. No, me want to kick party for $3,000 a day. Well, fine, kick your party. But it is hard for them to understand that the entire society have to be reflective in a police force. And even Discipline Service Commission, some years ago, Mr. Anil Nandalal was there. I think David Granger, the president, Your Excellency, was there. And they also talk about these things. But these guys are not. And look, we're doing everything to make them happy in there. If it's dal and roti they want, morning time, we've arranged that at all the schools. And so I want them to come forward rather than gripe and whine. It's not going to take this country any further. And when there is a better day and we could double the salary, like if an oil sector were to come, not then you're going to just want to go and join.
You'll see a rush.
And then they're going to say, oh God, the police force only get one set of people. What happened to Abidis? Why are you not joining now? Please join now, because a better day will come. And they have to be hardened in understanding all these arguments.
It's part of future planning as well and preparing.
Absolutely. And it is not that we are without that section of our community. You know, the leading members like Silal Prasad and Balram, Balram died, but Ram Narayan and them guys, they're all East Indians. And I've utilized that to get them. I went to quarantine and I'm pleading with them. And so, you know, that is why sometimes I'm very critical. You don't cry and whine. You get your act together and you actively participate. And even if you don't want to, form yourselves into community policing group. Do some security at the night time. Help out. And very many of them don't want to.
It's a collaborative effort.
I hope.
Can't obviously address the situation by themselves. They need the support of the people in the various communities.
Yes. And you know, even when it comes to the piracy, the army, through its surveillance, aerial surveillance and all of that, keeping a tab on the boats out there, pitch marking them and watching on the screens where they are and doing the rungs and so on. Also, with the police force doing what is called knowing some of the suspects and dealing with some of the suspects, talking to them, and also catching a number of them, especially that last set that happened with the murder where they threw them boys overboard. And it's sort of luckily, divine intervention, the captain survived, and we got all of them. And there are people from up there, neighbors and family members. Them is the culprits. We now know basically where it is happening. And there is also collaboration from my ministry. Only this morning I spoke to the minister of in charge of police, a lady, Grandelson, I forgot her name. But I spoke to her. We will be meeting tomorrow. And we are collaborating. The Commission of the Police of Guyana and the Commission of Police of Suriname will be meeting on Monday. And we are working out what we're going to talk about, because all this bilateral relationship with Suriname has caused that, because we now know and we are giving the information to Suriname and Suriname giving the information, it has caused that piracy to almost be zero. But nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. Oh, that's a huge success, and it will continue. I mean, you can have your incidents one or two times happening because they want to take the risk, because, of course, criminal minds are like that. They don't care. They go and do it. But right now, we haven't had, like last year and the year before, lots of piracy incidents. And I want also the fishermen in quarantine, especially quarantine, but also in Marijuana area and so on. They must learn to also move along with the times. We pleaded with them that they got to buy what is called the radio set and the transponders and so on. And look, as compared to when you lose your net and your engine and your boat and even your life, spending a couple of dollars is not going to matter much. But these guys don't want, what we going to do with transponder? What we going to do with radio set? Well, you know, we have to move on. These are the same people, if they get a visa and they got America, all of a sudden they know all this fancy, sophisticated equipment. But they don't want to move in their own country. And that is why I have to chastise them on several occasions like that.
And sometimes frustrated.
Oh, yes, I'm very frustrated. Because if you get a transponder set and we can identify you easier on the airwaves, we can radio in, tell us what's the problem, and we can have at least a better response time. The other thing is also to do better response time for our localities here in the country by having a better 911. Look, I am embarrassed by that thing. And we have now spoken to GT&T, and GT&T is going to ensure that we get some connection with them that is going to make that system work better. We have to buy some improved quality system. We have to train the people, some more policemen at Brickdam there, so that they're going to receive the call and then reroute it to wheresoever it got to be rerouted and so on. So if a call is from Keldon, it arrives at them. They have to tell the Keldon police station. If there's nobody at the police station, the officer in charge, even if he's at home, and so on. And a whole brand new system we're reconfiguring. But it was a big embarrassment. And in 2017, we have gotten the monies to do that. So expect better response time. In addition to that, the design for the Smart City project here in Georgetown is now going to be taken on by the IDB unit, the project execution unit of the Smart City project. Some of them with the crime chief, Mr. Blanham, went, I think, to Mexico City to see how it's working there. A big Chinese farm called Wang Yu or Huawei. Sorry.
Oh.
God.
So tell us a little bit about the smart city, because
Smart
a lot
city,
of people have heard the term, but they don't necessarily understand what it means.
Smart city is like becoming very advanced in relation to having eyes on every street through cameras. Have a CCTV cameras that are connected to a command center. It is like what you have in airports, and big airports like John F. Kennedy, where hundreds of thousands of people use, literally all over. And inside of this command center, you have about 40, 50 people watching the screens, seeing what is happening. So that 40, 50 people with this technology would be like your policemen who would be on the ground, right? If you had to put patrolmen, you'd have got to put about 400, 500. But with the cameras, you get it on the wall there and all over the place. Sussex Street, Delft Street, whatever, Campbellville Street, and you would know basically that area because you quadrant the thing into spheres and of geographic spheres, and you see, well, okay, that's that area. So if a robbery is happening now as we speak and it is being videoed there, a man snatched a bag in front of a hotel tower or something, and the police patrol vehicle is by Church Street going up, you immediately can call in and say, hey, look, there's a robbery at Hotel Tower. You're the closest patrolman, because it will be tagged. They'll all be red flagged and moving and so on. A very sophisticated system. They could turn back quickly, try to apprehend as best as possible. So it is that advanced system. It will cost millions and probably billions of dollars, but the IDB has indicated that they're going to help us out with that. We want that because with less policemen then, putting them more on the patrol side, we could know what is happening in our country on those screens. That is what the design and, of course, probably the procurement of all the CCTV cameras, the commencement of the building to be built. It is a 4-year project. All right.
It will commence in
Oh, definitely it
2027.
will commence because the monies have now been what they call disbursements are ready once we are ready now, and so on. So, and it was a $15 million project. Big chunk of that will go towards my smart city. If the money and we're going to ask Mr. Finance Minister, please add to that to complete the project within the 2-3 years period, and so that it could start in the 4th year. It's important. And that is why, if you want all things like that, you got to get a revenue stream. That is why taxation is necessary. That is why the citizens must have its duty done to its country. Pay your taxes.
We're quickly coming up to program time, and certainly it appears as though, as Minister of Public Security and as Vice President, as a senior leader in the government, you are expressing a level of optimism about 2017 based on the budget presentation.
Absolutely. Look, I am an optimist, and when you see the underlying philosophy behind this budget and the allocations that we have there, what is going to happen in 2017, but in addition, what will happen in 2017, starting from the very first day of 2017, by virtue of the budget being done in December 2016, means a lot to me too. Because had we done it in March or so, 1 quarter of the year done gone. And I'm glad that it came, and it is rectificatory again, because when I, as a young parliamentarian, started reading the Hansard and going back 1996 and 1966 and then these things used to happen. I didn't even know that, you know. But when you start reading, and then of course Mr. Winston Jordan told me, but Cameron, this, I say, yes, it's true, because I've seen it in the records when you read it. So there's every condition and every reason there for us to be very optimistic about this budget. And I am gung-ho on it. I am gung-ho because it is a kind of a very smart guy, meaning smart and genuine now, not smart in deceiving people, but smart in doing the correct, right, good things. Mr. Winston Jordan is behind it. He will continue to be with us. We have to take on hands-on approach in relation to our ministries too. And I'm proud of the fact, because it is true that it will take some time for us to, what you call, get the experience of our ministries. We have done that. I mean, it is necessary that people get that quickly done. You don't take a whole term to understand your ministry. You got to move on and get on, make the decisions. That, I think, is what gives me the optimism, because we are being led by a very well-versed, experienced, and a man with tremendous expertise on the economic side. And that is Mr. Winston Jordan. We have also Carol Greenwich there too. We have some senior other politicians that know a thing or two. And of course, we have some bright people inside of that cabinet that knows what is right for this country. We feel that just given an opportunity to wait through this year, to see the benefits and the flowering of all those massive capital projects, bridges, the road to Lethem, or at least a portion of it, all of that. When people start realizing that indeed it is through this budget that those have happened, they're going to appreciate us. And especially in the context of when another year comes and we reduce from, if it doesn't go to 12 immediately, it goes to 13, and then on the other year it goes to 12, we have to do what we have to do in relation to widening the tax base. I believe by that time too, we might have the oil coming in, the oil sector. A lot of people say, well, don't bother with the oil sector. No, 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 no. It is also a sector that is going to be of tremendous benefit to this country. But we have to do the preparatory work now. One aspect of that preparatory work is getting our taxation right. And of course, our infrastructural work. We have to do a lot more in education. We have to do a lot more in security and health. We're going to get it done there, Imran. pleading with members out there, listening to me, watching me, be part and parcel of that set of people who are optimists, rather than just whine and grind and be a chatterati out there that is just denouncing. I have lots and lots favoring our massive development in years to come.
Just for the record, a substantial amount of that budget has been allocated to your sector, $29.1 billion, a significant amount for the public. 11% of the total budget.
11% of the total budget. That is because the President, the Minister of Finance, and the entire cabinet see the need for Guyanese to be secure. Security is so important. Some writers have agreed that that is the most important thing. I believe that economic security is also very important, but we don't want to quibble about that. When you are secure, you're going to want to invest more. When you're secure, you're going to feel safe about your investment. When you're secure, your happiness levels rise. That's what I want for this country. And I will do everything in my power, along with my other cabinet colleagues, and I know that the President is doing that too, to ensure that that happens.
I want to finish with getting your reaction on two quick questions. One, you're leader of the AFC along with the APNU and a coalition government, and you interact at that leadership level with the leader of APNU, the President, His Excellency Brigadier David Granger. You've worked with him now about 19 months in government. What has been your impression of working with him and having that leader-to-leader relationship?
Look, he puts you in a comfort level and an ease level that is remarkable. He allows you to speak on your issues without any interruption. And if there is something that he has a tremendously good, reasonable argument why it shouldn't be done, he then tells you. And I had come to appreciate that fact for over the last 2 years or just less than 2 years of Mr. Granger. And so there is nothing that you can't bring to him and inform him about and tell him that I don't like what's happening, or I do appreciate that this is very excellently said in one of his, like whatever he's doing, public interest interviews and all that, leading the nation. And so for that reason, I doubt whether I could have worked along with any other president. Although I wasn't a minister in the PPP's government, you couldn't really get along with Barrett because he thinks he knows everything. And so he just was, that was what was striking about his kind of leadership. With the leadership of Mr. Granger, it is totally different, very open. And you got to win the argument. And of course, we can get it wrong on occasions. But when we get it wrong and then we realize that we get it wrong, he's the first. How do we rectify this thing? Let's come up with the ideas. That is what is the mark of a good leader, and that's the mark of a good government. We have that in Mr. Granger, and we have that in the APNU.
Coalition, in your mind, still very strong?
Very, very strong. A lot of people want to create divisions. They want to create jealousies within the parties and amongst the parties that are leading it. No. And party ministers and so on. No, no, no. We are smart people. We understand the mischief of certain